Welcome everybody. It's February 19th. It's 9:20. We're like 21 minutes late on this, but it's okay. The most important part is actually getting this audio stuff right. And we're back on the Hands Up Now podcast. It's episode 13 with none other than TNZNT. Yes. And TNZNT is actually also in the East Coast. So this podcast is about TNZNT, her entire music career, and where she's at right now. I mean, it's exciting that we actually got to do this because there's not that many, should we say, happy hardcore or hard dance artists in the East Coast predominantly.
No, yeah, the scene over here is completely dead. Nobody has like much clue of what it is. So getting the genre out there is very it's been a little difficult, but there's a couple people, a couple places that do recognize it. So I'm gonna try to use that in my favor to kind of, spread the awareness of it.
Right. So that's great. And tell us about yourself. So, like, what got you into this music? By the way, as an intro, we played the song that I discovered Tanzanite on the podcast today, and it's actually a song called "Sexy Eyes," and that song is about I think 1 year old at this point or something like that, or like 2 years old. But that's the
Yeah.
first time I ever heard it. In fact, I actually emailed the record label during the weekend, and so I'm like, I want to do something with this song. It's very good.
Yes, you should
Yeah, and
put
if
your
I
own
if
spin
I
to
pull
it.
something off, I'll make sure, you know, I'll let you know about it, and maybe you can join in on the success too of that. I At this point I'm 31 or I'm 31 years old, and like before when
Okay.
I was like 14, 15, like I was really into this like happy hardcore stuff and hard dance stuff. That my heart was just pacing places like, yeah, I gotta be in the UK, I gotta be in Germany. Yeah, there's all these
Mhm.
promotions, there's all these
Right.
labels. We gotta go meet up and do projects and make big events and stuff like that. But I've kind of slowed down, and I've decided, you know what, my focus is gonna be in the United States. Why jump ship when you can actually, take advantage of a lot of the EDM scene that's just built already here.
Mhm.
And by the way, a lot of the European artists are doing exactly that. After the success of David Guetta and other European artists like Tiesto, they're just coming here and they're taking over. So why let them take over when we can actually build our own artists here? So,
Mhm.
where are you right now? Like, which state in the United States? And where do you play places? Do you regularly play, or is it you're streaming, or how do you present yourself to your fans lately?
Yeah, okay, so I'm in North Carolina, USA,
I was there last
East
year.
Coast.
Yeah.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was
Did
in
you like
Durham
it?
and Raleigh for work, and then my
Okay.
favorite place is Charlotte actually because it's a young city, and I feel, and then I go to the Roxbury all the time just because the movie.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm in Charlotte, so I know exactly what you're talking
Okay.
about. Yep, yep.
I'm
It's
gonna
like
change my
the
glasses.
the 80s, 90s style. So
Yeah,
that's always fun
it's
to
the
go to.
90s. It's the 90s style. Did you ever see the movie?
I did. It was funny. Yeah, I like their Twitch dance.
Yeah. Okay, now
Oh, you're ready.
my
You're
glasses,
ready.
now my glasses are not gonna twitch for the live stream purposes because the light is just like like going through my pupil. But go ahead. So North Carolina, that's awesome. And how
Mhm.
exactly did you come across the European techno dance genres? Because I call them such just because they really are European of
Mhm.
origins. Because the most notable artists of that kind of music they came from Europe.
Right.
And also, how do you know Jedi? Because he actually released a couple stuff on our label, and that's actually really cool because it's good to see that there is some kind of a network out there. He does DJ a lot. He loves doing that, and he's a very hard
Mhm.
worker. Go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah, so I guess like what got me into this was, well, I was raised for a little bit in Miami, and as you could probably know, the techno and the trance rave scene was very prominent back in like I'm sure like still now, but I was there 99. And so I kind of like was raised with that community. And funny story, there used to be two trans radio stations and one classical station. And a couple years later, they turned that last classical into a techno radio station. So that just tells me like how prominent the scene was there and how like
Interesting. Because every
thriving it
every time I
was.
go there, it's only house music. If it's not
Oh,
house music,
really?
there's something wrong with you, or like it's almost like it's a sin to play any other genre than house
That's
music.
crazy.
That's
Yeah, I
how I feel
haven't
every
been
time I go to
back.
Miami. And
Hmm.
interesting you bring that up because I used to go. Well, I went there one time for the Winter Music Conference. Have you heard about it? Okay,
Mm-mm.
so it is a conference. It's like 3 days. Okay, it's a seminars. You attend all these course. It's like a classes, and as in like you attend a seminar for like 1 hour each. I think they have like 3 or 4 seminars a day for 3 days
Okay.
straight. And then after that, they let you get loose, and then they take care of you. Like they take you to this nice bar, and there's all these cool people and the
Hmm.
networking and stuff like that. Then
By the note.
and you get to meet like every day. You get to meet like a fancy DJ. Like one night, it was like one evening it was like Fed Legrand. Then the other one day was like Noron Pure, and
Oh, wow.
then the other night is like someone else. And so those are really cool. So if you ever want to do that, just let me know because most of those
Okay.
are just like that's where really like the famous people go to.
Okay.
Because they made a partnership with Ultra, and so with Ultra they have exclusive access to all these nice artists. And so whoever would
Yeah.
decides to like dedicate their time to um, kind of coach and speak to and meet and do a Q&A with famous DJs, that's where it's at. And I really liked it. It was fun. I think before it was more like packed. Nowadays is
Okay.
as in like 2017 and 18, it's gotten to a
Okay.
point where I think a lot of the Europeans that I'm trying to get in to come to this is just like is reduced, and I'm talking from like the notable labels and stuff like that,
Hmm.
as if like they have given up on the Americas. And when I say that is
Yeah.
a lot of European artists have gone to like different genres, or they just quit music just because they cannot break into the U.S. dance market. And I mean, a
Hmm.
quote unquote U.S. dance market, big thing. And then there's all these billboards, there's the top 100 DJs and stuff like that. You
Hmm.
gotta find clever ways to breaking it. And one way is actually by ghost producing. So a lot of the people that I like to think I associate myself with, but I really don't. Um, so in Hands Up, should we say the most famous Hands Up artist actually happens to be a lot of the maker of a lot of these new upcoming artists who are actually on the top 100 DJ
Wow.
thing. And I'm actually not surprised because, quite frankly, this person is so talented that at that point he's like, you know what? Instead of making his own music genre, he represents other artists through that, and then it's all good. Like but that's actually interesting. So my idea is like, hey, if you ever want to go back to Miami for this, let me know. It happens during spring break time, so like
Okay.
the Winter Music Conference, and I rep my shirt. I have it here. I don't know if you can see it, but is the Hands Up Now shirt? I'm sorry, you can't see it. Is the Hands Up Now shirt? And I'll make other Hands Up shirts by then.
Okay.
And then I go there and I ask them all these questions about like what their thoughts about if they ever heard about these hard dance genres, because quite frankly we are quite of a dying genre.
Right.
I say that because a lot of artists, a lot of main artists have actually given up or done stopped making music of this sorts, and
Hmm.
whatever reason they got, maybe it's families, they got that, or maybe whatever. I have actually never given up. It took me a solid 13 years to master this craft, through the help of a lot of my peers. And if it wasn't for them, they know who they are. They've helped me out, whether if it's, these samples and blah, blah, blah. But, anyways, you're also a producer, correct?
I'm trying to be, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is great. Great start for that. Today versus back in like when I started in 2007. Very different scene. So
Yes.
I think there wasn't like YouTube wasn't so infamous about like posting the secret sauce on there, but
Hmm.
what's your experience there? I heard a hardcore demo on your Insta stories.
I did.
Is that like your go-to, or is your go-to the kind of catchy songs that I'm kind of like sometimes and just like to loosen myself up, or just all of the above? Because hardcore is quite of a
It's an
scary
umbrella
genre.
term. Yeah, it's a huge genre. So it's funny you mentioned that because um, yeah, I'm like super beginner at this. I started probably, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago making like beats on my phone. Um, but then I wanted to learn more in depth about it. So I just got the full version of Ableton and just dove right in and just kind of experimented with it. I've always been like very big in music. I was a band geek all throughout school, so um, I'm very much
That's
a
the
music fanatic. Yeah.
that's how I started out too. I actually was playing the clarinet
Mhm.
for a good 7 or 8 years.
Oh, snap. Okay.
I did marching band and whatever, and that was like
Oh,
very
I'm a drum
serious.
major.
Yeah,
Like super nerdy. I was
yeah, it was a nerdy
mhm.
thing. I didn't know it was nerdy until like a year later of that doing that, because I told people I did marching band for a year, and they're like, "Oh, that's nerdy." I'm like, "Is it?" I didn't know. It was
I don't
just
know, but I'm having so much fun.
well, I'm glad you had fun. I did not. I'm sorry, because
Oh
I
no.
was a lonely sheep. Like nobody would talk to me, and when they did, they were just like, I don't know, because I was surrounded by all these girls at the band, because the only girls played music for some reason. There was not that many dudes, and for
Mm,
whatever it was like, and my concern was more over like I like techno, I like dance music. I don't like this kind of stuff. Okay, it's
yeah,
great, but I am just like a tech wizard. Okay,
right.
and I didn't fit in there, and I didn't want to pursue it any further. So I just like that was the last year I played, the actual
Hmm.
instrument,
Yeah.
and I was always into this, live performances, entertainment. Never so
Hmm.
much on the. And look, as Bass Hunter has a song. It
Oh,
wasn't
I love
something.
Space Center.
Yeah, I actually met him. I met. Well, I didn't meet him, but like he knows me, and he has seen me on his one of his
Okay.
performances.
Okay.
Because I was jumping so high at one of his performances in Europe that he
It's
actually.
like, who's that guy?
Yeah, no, he actually did that. I'm not kidding. He was drunk. He had a maybe a few drinks, but at the same time, he was a great show. And he stopped playing he stopped singing for like 15 20 seconds to take maybe catch his breath. I thought that was the case, but that's not the case. He actually did that solely to point me out in the crowd and say, that guy in the yellow shirt, he's actually said, it's a quote, that guy in the yellow shirt, he's the coolest guy ever. And I have never heard, and I'm like, that's gotta be me, because I'm surrounded by all these drunk Scandinavians, okay, and they're
Okay.
like drunk as like a barrel drunk, like in like they're not like threatening or anything, but they're just like so into the way past the mood, like you're in your zone,
Oh,
but this is
yeah.
once you're inside the barrel, like it's like whatever, like they're just there
Right.
because they're Scandinavian at that point. No, so I was there, I didn't have any drinks, I was there just for Bass Hunter. He pointed me out, and then I told him on Facebook like years and years later about it, and then he's like, oh yeah, I remember you. But he has a
It's so
song. It goes
cute.
like, I'm uh I don't play the like something in the lines of I don't play the guitar. I don't know how to play instruments, but he's still singing like a
Yeah,
beer in a
something.
bar,
Yeah.
something like that. But he doesn't know
Mhm.
how to play instruments. Yet he's on FL Studio making beats and stuff. So there's a lot of people
Right.
out on FL Studio started mimicking him and stuff like that, and going that route, and that's what made a lot of his success is actually because nobody has ever done anything like it. He comes to the US, he did a lot of tours, he's still doing a lot of tours internationally, and he's actually a lot in the Dubai area. He that's where I think he's based at this point, and but yeah, so that was Bass Hunter. But anyways, tell me some of your top influences in like the music industry. If you don't know on top of your head, we can answer that later. Let's just
Okay.
kind of like talk about so think about that, like your top five, like is it Benny Benassi, is it the Bass Hunters, is it like Darren Styles, like think about it. And then until then, let's talk about North Carolina. What is the North Carolina EDM scene like? In Charlotte, is there like an actual rave venue that there's bookings and you can get booked, and like what about like upcoming artists and stuff like that?
Okay. Yeah, so the rave scene in Charlotte is definitely growing, so that's a positive. Years ago, nobody knew what EDM was or any kind of electronic music. So that's good. I see the growth. I see the potential. There's a lot of new venues. And my favorite is Black Box. They have really nice lighting production, sound production. It's really good. And they're starting to have a lot more open decks, so that's really good for like practicing and just getting yourself out there and getting your feet wet. But in terms of the genres, it's mostly just house music and dubstep, which are fine. Like I enjoy them, but they're not my number one genre. So,
Right. They kind of dominate,
mhm,
and it's hard,
yeah,
sometimes hard to break in the that kind of monopoly
yeah,
of trap,
mhm,
dubstep, and house music,
yeah,
because they're just everywhere,
mhm,
and you have to find really the right venue. So here in Washington
mhm.
D.C., because I live near the D.C. area, there's a
Okay,
place called Soundcheck.
okay.
So they let me have it, but I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of shy at this point, because you know why?
Oh
Because I wanna.
no.
Well, because no, I'm not shy. I'm just saying, like, I want to make sure I get my ducks in a row, because I don't want to be that guy that just because I can do it, I'll do it. No, I want to first. I want to first see if I can sell some tickets myself, and then I will. So I gotta build my fan base and stuff,
Right.
and I don't know how that's working out, because I don't spend day to day, and it's like I think people when they go to these events and stuff like that, um as they already know who they like to go to, like some famous artists,
Mhm.
but I'm just like somebody never heard of. But I do bring
Right.
some value. My only value I bring is I'm playing music that has like not been like mainstreamed or like overdone, overkilled, and
Mhm.
so the hands up
It's
I'm talking.
fresh.
It's
Yeah.
fresh, and so to a lot of listeners, they might know happy hardcore, but they might not know hands up.
Right.
And so and so on top of that, I realized I can actually do a mixtape. Why DJ live when you can actually do a mixtape? So when you do a
Mhm.
mixtape, you can just circle around them and have a good sets. And man, I sometimes when I DJ, just like it wears you out. Like, don't you feel like it's more than a workout? Like you actually concentrating, it burns calories.
No, literally, I was talking to my friend the other day, and that's exactly what I was saying. I was like, you know, you can you can you can know how to beat match, you can know how to do a cool transition, but when you're doing this for 40 plus minutes, an hour, 2 hours, it's the endurance that I'm currently trying to like dominate
Yeah.
now. Hmm.
And to a point where I've got all this DJ gear that I don't even want anymore. That I'm just
Oh
like
no.
ready to sell out. I'm just ready to sell it, because I used to like DJ and stuff, but when I do, it's just like it just wears me out. And I feel what people should be doing is just mixtapes, and at least it's at least it's even if it's, since it's a recording at this point of
Mhm.
a mixtape, it's just it's better than like working hard. Why work hard when you can work smart? And by the way, this is what mainstream people are doing. If they're
Mhm.
if singers are lip syncing on like the Super Bowl live performance, DJs can actually do mixtapes, and so I don't. It doesn't. It doesn't. You don't have to like worry about it. But
Mhm.
well, okay. So this is great. And as far as any like other artists like DJs like yourself in the U.S., do you know other people like yourself, or are you really like a black sheep in North Carolina doing this?
In North Carolina, yeah, I honestly don't know like any other like hard dance or even hardcore
Uh
artists.
huh.
Maybe like hardstyle, they'll play.
What if I told you that one artist who was super young back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, um, he actually is from North Carolina,
Okay,
Chapel Hill,
okay,
and I've been there, and he's now known as Porter Robinson, and so
okay.
but he doesn't play hard dance and hands up and happy hardcore and that stuff.
Right.
He plays his own genre and kind of like like a Dead Mouse. They have their own thing, and that's totally
Hmm.
fine.
Yeah.
But he is from North Carolina, so
Right.
the only downside is saying, look, maybe like 10, 15 years ago the stars didn't align, and maybe you were not into this, and so I don't know. And
Hmm.
so that's the only thing. And so uh, there are people you just have to like really dig in and kind of figure out who knows who and things
Hmm.
like that. And yeah, a lot of people know about him in Hands Up, so we bring his name sometimes in these conversations.
Yeah.
And but okay, did you figure out who the top five
Top
influences?
five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. I think my number one influence all time is gonna be Surreal or Surreal. I still don't know how to pronounce it. Uh,
The S3RL, the Happy
yeah,
Hardcore.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I just
3RL.
call him by the whole thing. Like it says even three, so I have to say the three thing. But you kind
Yeah,
of like general. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So him, that guy. I would have to say Bass Hunter as well.
Okay.
East Clubbers, I
Oh
really
God.
enjoyed. Yeah,
I love East
and
Clubbers because they also influenced a lot of what I do. In fact, I'm remaking some of their music, like
yeah,
actually like taking their music and I'm remaking it from scratch and
nice.
because a modern version of a Hands Up as opposed to a Euro trance type of thing. Let's see,
Hmm.
and I think people really appreciate it. The vocals are great. The female vocals. I one time when I was in high school here, some girl in my English class said her favorite artist is East Clubbers. Why? And I said why? Because she's like, well, my boyfriend likes East Clubbers, and I listen to that because I'm like, oh, okay, great. So at least there's somewhat of a like people kind of like hear about these kind of artists and stuff, but there isn't like a mainstream like nobody. You don't see like East Clubbers playing in Charlotte like this Sunday.
Right.
No, you don't hear that because I feel like that's why that European, the Central European and Eastern European genres and some of the Western one like the hard stuff are just so
Right.
under what's the word I'm looking for, undervalued, but like they're just not
Hmm.
they're quite of a minority, but there is somewhat of a silent majority out there.
Yeah, surprisingly, yeah.
And that's great. So go ahead. I think so you did Bass Hunter. You said S3RL. You said East Clubbers. Very good. Very good names, by the way. I'm very impressed because I know
Yeah.
all of them. Sometimes people say on the
Yes.
podcast these names, and I'm like, oh, I don't know anything about
Oh
them.
snap. Let me look
Let
it
me
up real
Google them
quick.
up. Yeah.
Let me Google it. And then I think DJ Splash.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
I had a
yeah.
quick chat with him about things because he only came back recently to an
Hmm.
extent of releasing some of the stuff in higher quality or something like that.
Yeah.
He's very appreciated. In fact, like it's a good name you bring up. I'm very impressed. I don't know. Like I'm actually very happy I did this podcast because typically it's people I think if there's somewhat of a common grounds we can stand on and talk about something like that Sexy Eyes, we could have done this whole podcast about that one song. But you know
Facts.
what? You brought all these names and you've done your, you actually know exactly what we listen to. And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Very fine. Then I guess my last, is that my fifth one?
Okay, so Esther, Base Hunter, East Clubbers, and then what was the last one you said?
S3RL, DJ
DJ
Splash,
Splash. I think that's the five.
and yeah.
Esterel, DJ Splash, East Clubbers, Base Hunter. I think one more. One more.
Okay, one more.
Uh huh.
Um, Technicore.
Oh, Technicore. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know Techno Boy, but Technicore, I'm probably getting in trouble for not knowing.
Oh no. Okay.
Technicore. I
Yeah.
mean, no, I think I've heard of it. Is it hardcore? It's hardcore, right?
It's yeah, it's hardcore. It's like
Okay.
happy hard.
Oh, happy hardcore. Okay, okay,
It's
okay, okay.
like yeah.
Okay, he'll probably
I,
bury me for not knowing.
oh
I'm kidding.
no.
I know I've heard of the name, but just like I'm sorry. I just don't go on
I'm sure if
Spotify.
you like listen to something, you'll recognize it because he
Hey,
has a whole bunch of tracks out.
nice, nice. I'll definitely look it up. And hey, at least there's something out of these top five. I have some homework to do now. That's great.
Okay.
And so, like you said, Ableton is great. You use Ableton. I'm a Fruity Loop type of person. Guy.
Ah, okay.
And then, but Ableton I've heard is when it came out, it was so a lot of my professional friends they're like, that's better, da, 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 you can do this and that. And actually, I copied some of the plugins like the OTT from and brought it straight to FL Studio. So I would
Okay.
copy some of the
Nice.
plugins from Ableton and put them in there.
Mhm.
Um, and so, what's your journey like as an artist? Do you think to make hardcore and stick with it? And I say that I'm only asking that because I know in the U.S. you'll have more success just by taking on market trends,
Mhm.
and say like what people listen to. People listen to all this kind
Right.
of gritty, screechy sounds, da 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 da,
Mhm.
dubstep, and then harder, faster of dubstep is actually
Right.
hardcore. And so at that point, um, do you see to align yourself in the market more on the hardcore, um, or challenge yourself and beat yourself in the hand by playing some of the old school genres?
Yeah, no, I don't think I would ever deviate from like hardcore car dance just because I know if I'm not playing something I love, I'll burn out real quick. So
Yeah.
I will stay true to.
That's a good thing you bring up the burnout thing.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't know about it until it happens to them. And that's why
Right.
sometimes they quit. They're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm like, oh, well,
Mhm.
you do that to yourself. And for me, I just take things easy. Sometimes I make a lot of music. Sometimes I don't make a lot of music.
Mhm.
And so just it's gotten to that point. And I'm at a point right now. I just like whatever I put into my system, 80% chance it's gonna release, or like I'm gonna put it on the internet. What if it's a bootleg
Mhm.
or remix? So
Bootlegs are the best.
yeah, bootlegs are the.
Yeah.
It's so sad
Yeah.
because like you can't like really go mainstream with bootlegs.
Mhm.
Now I am working on something on that. We're working on a platform, and we have a platform for the blockchain about bootlegs and putting that together. Can't
Yeah.
say much about it, but it's gonna be more information later. And for my sake, I think we have an opportunity to grow. I'm not sure how much you know about our brand, but we've been like underground for a while, a long
Mhm.
time, and we've made some relationships in the big leagues, and they like the idea because once I brought their names, like we have Snoop Dogg, we have uh, maybe Rihanna, we have all the main artists, right? You can think of, and even Tiesto.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, like, me doing things, I have to like, the main A&R for that is interested in what we're doing, and it's only a matter of me, going all in on this, and so yeah, so we have some upcoming great news, but until then, we just keep doing what we're doing and just producing more content. So, as far as your goals, what are some of your goals as a DJ and also as an artist? Because I know you're working on something in music, but you're also a DJ. So, like, which do you like more, and like, what are some of the goals there?
Yeah, so I think I really do want to focus on producing more because I do want to create uh, I do want to create music, but I think learning how to DJ is a good way to like market yourself and kind of present your work. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I think I rather be producing and just making music.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. And how do you reach out to your fans? Is it like through a show they meet you, they get your social media, or do you release?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So I'm a total like bedroom DJ/slash producer. I've never gone live. Just because
Is bedroom mean like from home, or what is
yeah,
bedroom?
from
Oh,
home,
okay,
from
okay,
home.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, just because I just recently started and I don't
No, that's totally
feel
fine. I have
as
a
like
lot of my artists and
comfortable
friends.
yet.
They're
Yeah.
doing that too. In
Hmm.
fact, a lot of the top artists they're doing that. I mean, like the Tweakers. Are you denying that they're DJing out of their studio?
Right.
I mean, like they could be like streaming from a live session, but that's like overkill because like what if the
Mhm.
Wi-Fi? I mean, anyways, go ahead. Yeah, bedroom performances are great. And are you on Twitch, or like where do people find you?
I'm mostly on Instagram. I just put like short mixes, just like get
Okay.
my name out there. I try to, reach out to people, support other artists. I am on like YouTube and SoundCloud, but those are a lot slower than Instagram. So I've kind of shifted my focus to, start a network there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all about all social media, whether if it's SoundCloud. I'm like
Mhm.
I'm right now all in on SoundCloud. I wasn't before because you only get
Okay.
a limit of how many things you get to put as a free account. I got the
Hmm.
whole premium stuff, and we're going all in on SoundCloud. I'm like so late on this. I'm like 13, 14 years late on this, and already
Hmm.
there's like established artists on there and stuff like that.
Oh well.
And the same thing with Facebook. Like I'm going all in on everything to see like where can we find all these fans and artists
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Well, look, if for me, for my case, after whenever I do my performance here at Soundcheck and stuff, now I know that you're a local, if you were to ever play here, and you want to go on the whole, you want to bring your brand here and stuff like that, you just let me know. And then I will do all I can from my network and my things in collaboration with your network to like put something together here. That's also a great mutual thing. And who knows, if I'm gonna perform somewhere, I need a opening DJ and stuff like that. Why not? You're only a trip away because
Right, yeah. Like
I
six
really
hours, I guess.
I do enjoy going to North Carolina. My favorite route is through like the west side of Virginia, not West
Okay.
Virginia, West Virginia, but I'm talking like the west of Virginia, then going
Hmm.
south because it's so pretty.
Yeah.
You
Through
get
the
to see,
mountains.
yeah, the mountains. You get to see like the cows and the green grass. It's kind of like a Switzerland type of ride, and
Oh my God. Switzerland is like
yeah,
my
yeah, Switzerland is
dream
nice.
country.
Yeah, I'm sure they make chocolate in Virginia too. All that milk, you got to put it somewhere. So,
Mhm.
what else can I say? I mean, I think that this is interesting. And what would you say was like that one or two or three songs that really got to you to get you into music, like all in on music?
Damn. That's the hard because there's a lot of songs.
There's a lot of
Um,
songs. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Until let's think. I'll let you think
yeah.
about it. Until then, let me ask you some questions about some of these genres. They're kind of like, they're there, but like, well, okay. So, like for example, obviously you're born and raised here. What do you think about country music?
Country music.
Yeah, country music.
Um, as a whole, I'm not a big fan, but I know there's certain songs that they're catchy
Yeah.
and the love story is really pretty, so I do appreciate the lyrics and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now what about like when Avicii makes a country song and like a country singer, for example, like that some of his old stuff that we did before he passed away, as well they were kind of like sounding like country music at that point, and they were
Mhm.
mixed with like EDM. Like, do you think that could be a thing? Like, hard dance with country music?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, because
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if we can build a bridge there. That's all. That's the only
Okay.
reason I'm asking.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
have you been to Nashville before?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, I heard that's like the place for artists. And so, like,
Okay.
even The Rock himself, like the biggest movie star in the world, The Rock, Dwayne
Mhm.
The Rock Johnson, he
Yeah.
was on the street, like for on his own, like like not that he was living on the street, but he did it. He was out performing to feel good, and he would like play his guitar and sing, on the street, just like many other artists to get discovered, because and
Mhm.
that's one thing that's Nashville is like. No, a lot of people don't know about Nashville, but it is quite a capital of music in
Mhm.
the United States.
Yeah.
And I'm eventually looking to do something over there, but we'll see. So but yeah, so as far as some of the roadmap for you, you're making music, you're DJing. Is there anything else in music that we should know about, like what something your fans should look out for, or do you just once you have your new release, how do you plan to like get it get it to the right fans and stuff like that?
That's a great question
Yeah.
because I don't know yet.
So
Right.
I
Mhm.
think the social media aspect is very important. Like I'm not
Mhm.
kidding. Like I'm actually a big fan of like the when people actually torrent or they download my music.
Mhm.
I mean, some people use the word illegally, but I say, you know what, they just download for free instead of paying for it. And I say
Right.
that because like you get more hits on that than actually. And
Hmm.
plus, people, if they're gonna share my music, doing that way, I feel better because what's the return? If they like it, then they might look me up, and if they look me up, guess what? They're going on YouTube and they're gonna subscribe.
Right.
I'm finding
Right.
for
That's true.
everybody. Nobody cares how much money you make. Nobody cares how many likes you get. But people do care how many followers you have. So it's not
Hmm.
about your it's about your net worth at that point. Like, what is your net worth? It's not how much. So that's where I'm getting at. And like when you have a strong presence on these social media, that is exactly what the industry cares about. They actually don't care what kind of music you play. The only thing they care about is how many followers do you have, because at that point they
The
have all.
analytics.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they have relationships to all the sponsors, and if you get sponsors to sponsor your venues and stuff, like that's even better because you can spend all this money on, like, cool lighting, cool this, cool that.
Hmm.
And but yeah, so that's pretty much that's pretty much what I'm I do mentor people, artists here there on time to time. Certain people are not doing the right things. I'm just like, hey, you should do this. You should get on this platform. Why don't you have an account there? It's you've been for you know you've been doing this for how long and you don't have an account here? Oh my god, it's the
Hmm.
biggest platform. Come on, you gotta get on YouTube.
Yeah.
so sometimes it is a good return, even if people download your music for free on some other these sharing websites, than like actually downloading it, by purchasing it. So that's just like my motto. I'm saying that because one person that I used to look up to, he said that in an interview, and
Hmm.
it does make sense because they did have a lot of platinum and a lot of major hits in Europe in the techno world. And so for me, I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense because
Hmm.
yeah, they can't afford it. So what do you do about the fans that they can't afford to? Why should we discriminate
Right.
against them and so not have access to your music when they can actually um, you know download it for free and enjoy it as well? And the return is you have a fan, who is a loving
Right.
supporter. So that's a good thing. I don't think it's a negative thing. But have you thought about your favorite song of all time, one that really like resonates with you? Or should we just say, you know what, Cheeky Tracks label, catchy, sexy eyes, Dave Curtis remix is the greatest of all time. Maybe we just might conclude that with that.
I mean, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It has to be because
It has to be.
it has to be because I don't know what it is. But okay, so this is a Donk. It's a Donk remix.
Yeah, done.
How much do you know about Donk? And have you heard of the Blackout Crew?
The Blackout Crew?
Yes, it's from the
No, I have
UK.
not.
Oh, I have to send it
No,
to you. You're gonna
okay,
laugh.
okay, okay.
It's okay. It's okay. You're gonna laugh so hard because it's about the Donk. They made a song about the Donk,
Okay. Okay, I
and
like it.
there's a documentary. I don't know if you've seen it, but like in the UK, there's a documentary about like this kind of music, and they used to have like rap like how the hip hop and rap community in the US, the same thing, but in like the UK,
Yeah.
but for donk music. So you have like
Okay.
people go to each other's apartments and they'll like fill it up with like 40, 60 people as much as they can, and then they'll do like
Mhm.
live recording rap, and they call it MC. They don't call it rap, they call it
Right.
MC.
And
And they like then they get on radios and they form record labels because there's a following, and
hmm.
it was a strong thing. But I think the what is that one documentary that does a lot of these but anyways, the documentary host that did that documentary, they did a poor job because I feel like they just talked down about it. They labeled the whole genre as a drug addict like type of thing, which is not the case. I
Hmm.
mean, I've
Right.
listened to it. I'm not a drug addict. I never had drugs. So why should they associate the whole thing? Like, there's people who actually appreciate the music and not the so
Right.
much
Yeah. Yeah.
stereotype, as if like, oh, the other genres are super clean. And they show all
Hmm.
like how they live in poverty and stuff. Like, yeah, they live in poverty. Who cares? Like, the fact that they
Right.
actually like the music is actually, that's the whole point. Like, why you talk about their personal lives and talk about, that's their decisions. Like, so I feel like
Right.
the document did a poor job, but they did at least show like some of the stuff that was happening. And by the way, this was on fire. There was a website called Bebo. It's like MySpace, but the English version where English people go on there. All right.
Okay.
And when I say English, I mean all UK, like Wales, Ireland, blah blah blah, Scotland.
Hmm.
They go on there and they would like host all these parties and stuff. And like I'm telling you, these people are selling tickets left and right, filling stages. Everybody goes there. Okay. So that was a strong scene, and that's the donk scene, and like super underappreciated. But there's great labels like Cheeky Tracks that actually put this song in. I'm glad that they're doing great things. And so, um, have you been to the UK? Do you talk to any UK artists at all?
Yeah, I have never been to the UK, so that is definitely on my wish list.
Uh-huh. And by the way,
Hmm.
Jed Knight DJ, he's actually here also. He's also American. How did you come across Jed Knight?
Yeah, so I found his song, um, Always Dreaming, I think it's called, on Chop Shop Digital,
Mm.
and I really liked it. So then after that, I became a fan, and I was like,
There you go.
yeah.
Oh, that's the exact that's like the best story any artist can ever hear. Oh, wow, I found your song
Hmm.
there, and oh, I wish somebody would say the same thing to me when I had Boca Beach. Boca Beach was the
Yeah,
most ridiculous song I've ever made.
yeah.
I met a girl on Boca Raton on the beach, and then she
Okay.
was modeling at the beach, and I'm like, I'm making a song about it, and so it was so
That's
silly. It
cute.
was so silly that I had like 12 remixes. That was my first single ever. I had like
12
12,
remixes.
12 remixes. One of the person who remixed it, I got him to the Kardashian show. Like
Okay.
he but I help artists too. I don't just like make music. I do a lot with artists, not just like
Mhm.
so so like I would like make something catchy too. So catchy music for me is my forte. What about you?
Okay.
What makes you an artist? Is it like the catchy stuff, or is it just the fact that you can play loud music?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of everything. I think the most important thing for me is to have like a catchy melody that either makes you smile, makes you cry, makes you dance, makes you mad, like some just invokes some kind of emotion.
Okay.
So I think like catchy melodies is like number one,
Yeah.
but then also I like aggression. I like hype. I like high energy. So then that's when like the aggressive kicks and the high BPMs come in place. And so I'm just like, that's
Have
that's
you
when I.
have you heard of Sefi Hakubi by any chance?
Mm,
He's a DJ out of Texas. Plays hard dance, makes hard dance. He does a lot of hard dance stuff that are like I think it's
okay.
what was it, San Antonio or was it like Houston? But it's something like that. One of those places in Texas. Like he mainly like focuses on a lot of artists. If Tiesto or Darren Styles or like even what was it last night or the night before, Dead Mouse was in town. Like he was there. Like
Okay.
and
Right.
he's a great guy, very nice guy. And I came across him. So there are people like ourselves. There's not that we're not extinct.
Right. We're next to we're in these. Yeah.
And what else can I say? I mean, yeah, so there are people that I'd love to introduce you to, like network and stuff like that. And so if you're ever in Texas, definitely link up with him. And he does a lot. He doesn't just like focus on Texas. He's done so many trips to like Japan or like Hawaii and stuff like that. So whenever there's all those anime cons or whatever, he's
Hmm.
there. Okay,
Okay.
and oftentimes, and by the way, I had this idea before I met him. Whereas like why, and as people have told me about this, like why don't I tap? Because in Atlanta, Georgia, there's a big anime convention and da da da.
Okay.
Why don't we go and set up a DJ thing there? They're gonna appreciate it.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
So
think you
why?
should. It's
Well,
super
because
weedy.
yeah, because anime people listen to Nightcore, and Nightcore is the closest thing that relates to all of us. So
Yeah.
I figured, well, let's just tap into it, and so we'll see. But I haven't done my homework to actually look up all these stuff and like meet the right people there. I'm sure they would appreciate it. It's only a matter of time of when me doing that, and
Hmm.
when I do that, I'll let you know. And it's only
Yes.
a state or two away for
Hmm.
you, and and it can be a very good turnout. In fact, one of our artists in my label, he's actually based out of that area in near Atlanta, and so
Okay.
we're trying to do more there, and it's a thing. We just have to tap into the market because once you do, I think you're gonna be very well off. More support, insta support, as opposed to like really banging your head against the wall and just putting tracks
Right.
and burn out because a lot of people they can burn out. I mean, I've had like people make so many compilations, like over 100 compilations and stuff like that, but they still haven't gone to the where they really want it to be, and so I think some even canceled some of their compilations, and so uh, so the burning out is not the answer. Like you have to like
Yeah.
really find like sometimes it's not the nightclubs that you have to be tackling. You have to be
Hmm.
tackling these conventions because there's people there
Hmm.
already, and you have to partner up with them and set up a table, whatever, play music, da da, and it can be a good turnout because the people who go to these things, they tell me that they listen to this kind of music. They actually,
Right.
and there isn't such a thing as that. So there's something I'm working on there. Love to tag along on that with you and play your music in there and have you DJ there too. That's what I'm thinking. One of my goals is actually for doing that. But as far as what would you say is one of your goals as far as where you really want to be in the music industry? Like where do you see yourself? Like, if all the stars align, shall we say, where do you really want to see yourself?
Yeah, if all the stars align, I would definitely would love to have my own studio, create my own label, just kind of create my own rave cave.
Yeah, it's funny you say
Yeah.
that because one of the artists that we made music for a long time. He goes by
Mhm.
Time Waster. He also has a podcast with me,
Okay.
and Time Waster is in Netherlands, and he plays all of the above, the hard dance stuff, and
Nice.
he actually he has a live DJ session, like it comes like every week, I believe. It's called the Rave Cave,
Love it.
and so he calls it the actual Rave Cave, and so. But yeah, you're totally right. Just having a studio is great. And don't fool yourself. Actually, you can get a very good studio up and running in no time.
Hmm.
You don't have to spend like a lot of money on a lot of things. You can just
Right.
just on very super. If you have any questions, just let me know. I can point you the right direction on some things. And for my case, and I can get a lot of work done that way, as opposed to
Hmm.
spending all that money right away. And you can save money too. You don't have to
Yeah, right.
just because there's people like you see the kind of things they put in there. It's like, do you really need that stuff? But um, yeah, and so I think that the question here is like I'm gonna have to do my homework. Is like how can we really set North Carolina's EDM scene on fire to like really put some really strong events? And I'm really sure there are communities there, which is only a matter of
Mhm.
building something for
Taking
hard
them out,
dance.
yeah.
And
Finding
there
them.
has to be people like yourself like out there and really you know uh, befriending them, working with them and see if you guys can support each other and
Mhm.
that's what it's about. But hey, this is great. Do you have any advice for upcoming artists? Any feedback for people who are coming into the EDM scene itself?
Um, as far as artists, I think the biggest advice is just go do it. Go buy the DAW, go buy the controller, go talk to the promoter, just go out and do it. Just start. I think that's just the hardest part about this. It's just committing to it, starting it, and deciding to pursue your dream. And I think for newcomers to the scene, just be open-minded, just have fun, just be respectful, keep it flirt, all of the above, and remember to just enjoy it. Like that's what you're here for, just to connect with people and yeah, just take your mind off all the worries for a little bit.
Folks, well, that adjourns our podcast today with none other than TNZNT. And
Hey,
thank you so much for being on our podcast. We're gonna exit out with the best song ever made, and
all right.
and
Thank you for
you're
having me. Thank you for inviting me.
you're welcome. You're welcome. And I'll follow up after the podcast.
Okay.
Cheers.